Understand and apply threat modeling concepts and methodologies. Welcome to this module on threat modeling concepts and methodologies. Organizations need to stay ahead of cyber threats by identifying and addressing vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. In this lesson, we will cover the fundamentals of threat modeling, key methodologies, and how to apply them effectively. Let's begin. Threat modeling is the process of identifying security threats, vulnerabilities, and attack scenarios to mitigate risks before they happen. It helps organizations proactively strengthen their security posture. Threat modeling answers these four essential questions. What are we trying to protect? Assets like customer data, servers, intellectual property, etc. What can go wrong? Threats such as hacking, malware, insider attacks, etc. How likely is the threat to happen? Risk assessment based on impact and likelihood. What are we doing to mitigate the threat? Security controls to reduce risk. Now let's look at an example. Imagine a company that stores customer payment details online. If a hacker targets this system with SQL injection, customer data could be stolen. By conducting threat modeling, the company identifies SQL injection as a major risk and implements secure coding practices and database encryption to mitigate it. Here are some best practices for effective threat modeling. Identify critical assets and prioritize protection. Use structured methodologies for identifying threats. Regularly update threat models to keep up with evolving risks. Integrate threat modeling early in the development process. There are several frameworks organizations use to model threats. Let's go over the most widely used ones. Each methodology has a unique approach to identifying and mitigating threats. Let's break them down one by one. Stride, a Microsoft-developed model that categorizes threats into 6 types. Impersonating a user. Tamp-altering data. Repudiation, denying an action. Information disclosure, leaking sensitive data. Denial of service, overloading systems. Elevation, gaining unauthorized access. Example, if a hacker attempts to spoof an admin login, the Stride model identifies this as a spoofing attack, and the company implements multi-factor authentication to prevent it. DREED, a risk-based ranking system that scores threats based on damage potential, stability, exploitability, affected users. Example, a vulnerability allowing hackers to bypass login screens would score high on DREAD, leading security teams to prioritize fixing it first. PASTA, process for attack simulation and threat analysis, focuses on analyzing attacks from an attacker's perspective to prioritize security defenses. Example, a company using PASTA simulates a phishing attack to see how easily employees can be tricked and then strengthens email filtering and security awareness training. VAST, visual, agile, and simple threat modeling, designed for large enterprises and DevOps environments using automation to identify threats quickly. Example, a cloud provider uses VAST to automatically scan for misconfigurations in virtual machines and containers. Here's how to choose and apply a threat modeling methodology effectively. Use Stride for identifying broad security threats. Apply DREAD when prioritizing risks based on impact. Use PASTA for real-world attack simulations. Implement VAST in cloud and DevOps environments. Now that we know different threat modeling methods, let's talk about how to apply them in an organization. Threat modeling generally follows these 5 steps. Identify assets, determine what needs protection, e.g. databases, applications. Identify threats, consider how attackers could exploit vulnerabilities. Assess risks, rank threats based on severity and likelihood. Implement controls, apply security measures to mitigate risks. Monitor and update, continuously refine threat models to address new threats. Here's an example. A software company is launching a new web application. They conduct threat modeling and identify session hijacking as a potential attack. To mitigate this, they implement HTTPS, secure session management, and token-based authentication. Here are the best practices when applying threat modeling. Conduct threat modeling at the design phase of projects. Review new threats and update models regularly. Use automated threat modeling tools when applicable. Integrate threat modeling into security awareness training. Many organizations use specialized tools to automate and streamline the threat modeling process. Let's look at some of the most popular ones. Microsoft Threat Modeling Tool helps visualize and analyze threats based on STRIDE. OWASP Threat Dragon, open source tool for building threat models and mitigating risks. Erius Risk, enterprise-grade automated threat modeling software. Threat Modeler, cloud-based tool that integrates with DevSecOps workflows. Here's an example. A bank uses Microsoft's threat modeling tool to identify threats in its mobile banking app and prevent fraud. Here's how to make the most of threat modeling tools. Choose tools that align with your security framework, e.g. STRIDE, DREAD. Automate threat identification and risk scoring when possible. Regularly update security models to address evolving threats. Now, let's summarize what we've learned about threat modeling concepts and methodologies. Threat modeling helps organizations identify and mitigate security threats before they occur. The 4 major methodologies are STRIDE, DREAD, PASTA, and VAST. Threat modeling follows 5 steps. Identify assets, identify threats, assess risks, implement controls, and monitor for new threats. Threat modeling tools like Microsoft Threat Modeling Tool and OWASP Threat Dragon can automate and improve security assessments. By applying these threat modeling concepts, organizations can proactively address security risks and prevent cyber attacks before they happen. This concludes our module on threat modeling. Up next, supply chain risk management. Stay secure.